June 17, 2024 marked the signing of the new enhancement agreement for Indigenous students in the Abbotsford School District for 2025 to 2030. With input from over 500 staff, students, families, and the community, the agreement was created to guide support for Indigenous student success in the Abbotsford School District. It highlights 3 key commitments, each with action plans.
The Indigenous Enhancement Agreement is vitally important to our school district. It represents our commitment to our Indigenous students. We have a mission to inspire and prepare students for a lifetime of success. And by specifically making sure we find ways to incorporate Indigenous knowledge, culture, and history into the curriculum, everybody benefits.
So we have 3 main goals for our enhancement agreement for Indigenous students. One is student success, the second is cultural identity, and the third is advocating for equity and access. So that first goal is holistic wellness and holistic support. So you've got those academic supports, you have those physical supports, especially with the space in the room and food and nutrition, and you've got the emotional well-being supports and having that trusted adult. Having commitment statements and actions improves the outcomes for Indigenous students. For example, our last enhancement agreement had a goal of increasing literacy rates for Indigenous learners, and we gave targeted literacy support for our elementary school students, so much that their FSA scores were higher than non-Indigenous students. The second goal is about cultural identity and cultural success and spiritual wellness. So you have all 4 aspects of holistic success in there. We're first rooting students with the stories, teachings, and language and culture of the territories that we're on, so Math First Nation and Mathquay First Nation. And then you're connecting the students to their own Indigenous identity. After that, we're working on recognizing that Indigenous cultures and ways of being are diverse across Turtle Island. And the third goal is when we're really advocating for equity and access within our district, for our staff members, for our students.
A group of Indigenous students called the Agenda Gap played a crucial role by providing student voice and suggestions to the new enhancement agreement. They identified 3 priorities: continuity of Indigenous support workers, food accessibility, and Indigenous resource room access.
Having those connections of being able to talk to people if I need to, having the academic help, and having just the connections of people who can tell me about my culture is really important to me. We get to learn about bands and how and why it's important to be with our culture.
The enhancement agreement helps Indigenous students have a safe place to go in school, and if they need help at all, they can go to if they're Indigenous support worker. We need a good and welcoming space to learn and have fun, and the enhancement agreement helps us have that.
These priorities that the group identified were heard by the leaders involved in renewing the enhancement agreement, and they were included. The advocacy that they were able to do is going to have a lasting impact for many Indigenous students in our school.
Students and families may not have the opportunity to reconnect with their culture, and when we prioritize that with our enhancement agreement, those students feel so proud. They're proud to be Indigenous. They're proud of who they are. They connect to stories of their own cultural identity and share that back with their families who didn't have that. When we see our role models, their applications say that they learned about their culture through our programming.